All right, test 1, 2 on the video stream. I think it's working. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Radio testing on the 11-meter audio.
She's a-working.
I saw you hearing Skip out there. Hello, Net Control. All right, 93 with an early check-in. I can barely hear you, but I will get you checked in over. All right, I hear you, and we'll get you checked in. And it is 8 o'clock, 8:01 here on the Pacific Coast, Central California, the Old Tube Radio Network, real radios glowing in the dark. Your Old Tube Radio Network, 35 years of promoting the use and distributing information about Old Tube radios on your 11-meter citizen band radio service. The Old Tube Radio Network is not a club, just a voluntary association of people interested in old tube radios, and we welcome anyone to participate. We'll be starting with our directed net roll call of the shortwave listeners. Those who are tuning in may or may not have tube radios at the ready, but we like to say hello to those stations that take time to turn on the radios on Saturday evening. And a reminder that we are available 27085 Channel 11 in your ground wave, or perhaps skip zone here in Central California. Everywhere else you might hear us on your Universal Media Net web at oldtuberadio.net, or perhaps on the live YouTube video, which I think is actually happening here tonight. If I didn't say so, my name is Dennis, your net controller for the evening. I want to say hello to those who might be joining us from some of the great Facebook pages where you can find information on all your favorite things. 11-meter style CB radio. Hello to those tuning in from Antique CB Radio pre-1977. The CB Radio Lounge. Hello to those from the CB Radio Connection. Maybe some of you do the high-fidelity audio stuff like I do. Hello to high-fidelity CB audio. 11-meter CB junkies. Vintage CB radio fans of Demco CB radio and related equipment. Maybe we will hear some Samson Demco radios tonight. Hello to those tuning in, listening in from Vintage Tube CB radio. We will definitely be getting some Vintage Tube CB radios in tonight. The worldwide sidebanders. Oh, to all you WWS stations waiting for lower 38 and your various sideband frequencies to open up. And waving hand to Rich Anderson and all the gang out at CB Radio News. And if I get my mouse in the right position, we will start with our directed net roll call, the SWL check-ins. And here we go. Let's see if this works. Looking for 00.
SWL, 00 checking in.
00 checking in. If you're playing the home game, you should be on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, space number 5 in the 8-week roster for the 15th day of February 2020. And there is Mr. Dave checking in. Sounding good. We'll catch you on the 2-for-1 in just a bit. Got the cosmic check-in for one of the stations that got the idea to do this so long ago, SWL number 1. Also, in that same category, SWL number 2, Mr. OBP, who sometimes will wave a hand over on the YouTube side. Don't see Kevin just yet. SWL 3. Saw Rob Thursday night at the bowling alley where he was doing okay. Better than I was, that's for sure. SWL 4. SWL 5. one of our net controllers, Ida Mama Rose. Get a check-in for Ida. SWL6. SWL7. SWL number 13. SWL 14. SWL 15. Shortwave listener 16. SWL 17. Get a Facebook check-in for Mr. KDA Mikey, SWL 18. SWL 19. From the west side, SWL 20. I think I'm supposed to proxy Harvey, and that's right. I think he said he's going to be away from the radio. If you're listening, Harvey, got you checked in. SWL 21, Mr. JT. Fresh from his appearance in front of the microphonium on tonight, it was the cool, SBE 623? Was that without the ground rod? I think you're running a couple of tubes. I think it's a hybrid radio. It's rare nonetheless. Looking good and sounding good. I think that would be the perfect net control radio. How about SWL 20?
I have to start walking faster from the house to in here. Okay, check myself in. 295484, the family, 135.
All right, will do. You might have a very good internet stream, so you have to start walking out at SWL 6 rather than at 16. SWL 20 at the microphonium, you are sounding good. Weather's getting better. Hope you're feeling good and can join us when the radios start glowing in the dark. We've got you checked in. Over.
Eric here. Yeah, I walked out at 7, and I don't think he checked in. So there you go. Or maybe he did. Proxy me in for next week. I should be working. I'm supposed to be off this week, and I was working. Supposed to be off next week. Looks like I'm working. This semi-retirement is not what it's supposed to be. Okay, we'll catch you a little later on tonight.
That's what happens when you do your job too well. There's no need to bring in the new guys, right? When the old guy can do it. All right, we got the possible proxies checked in, and we will be chatting with you a little bit later. We got some. What do we got? Some news coming up about some old news about Browning radios. Who knows? Who knows what? But we will have some interesting stuff on your old tube radio network. Thanks for checking in. And let's see. We did get to Mr. JT out there in the Wasama swamps of South Carolina. And the relay is still sticky. Sticky relays. Hopefully I do not have any sticky relays, but I'm not running any cool radios like JT does. He must have a radio, 52 radios at least, one different radio for each week of old radio nights. Let's try SWL 22. And the 23 Skidoo, Mitch has an article out, found some interesting things about when Browning shut the doors. We'll talk about that. Very interesting later on tonight. So looking for Mr. Mitch out there. I should look at our who's out listening. Hello to let's start way up in the balcony tonight. in Anoka, Minnesota. Elmhurst, Illinois. Longview, Texas. Hello to Hendersonville, Tennessee. Coming up to you. Canby, Oregon. Always waiting for the short skip, E-skip to come in. Hello to local Fresno, Mariposa. Also, station in Bathgate. Trying to get a heading on that tonight on my very slow Universal Media NetWeb. Partly cloudy, 42 degrees, where it's 4:10 in the Sunday morning. Sun's not even up yet. Hello to Florence, Kentucky, Squamish, BC. The trio is out there. Dallas, Georgia. Centerville coming up to you. San Francisco, that should be X4000. I think X4000 checking in. And well, I thought I saw... I'm going to be seeing Frodex, of course. The YouTube chats folded into the website chat. I don't know. He said he couldn't remember what he did to get the Facebook sites folded in, and we had mail from Yahoo, and that stopped. So I have to see. If he even remembers what he did. This whole thing is sort of in jeopardy of crashing, I think. Who else we got? Somerville, South Carolina. Woodland Park, Colorado. Our faithful station in Colorado who's got a great receiver. Definitely can hear it when the band is open. Hello to Maryland, Hagerstown, up in the front row here, and also Derby, New York. Southern California, Hermosa Beach Fish Camp, and a host of others. The unknown SWL as well. Looking for SWL 24. And, Joseph checked in earlier on the screen, so I'll say, Joseph, if you're watching the video or you see us, you are definitely checked in. There is SWL 22, right on time. In East Texas. Hello, Mark. He's the Longview guy checking in. His Eagle is down temporarily. The Eagle has landed. But an unscheduled landing, it appears. We placed the channel selector last week and haven't had a chance to fully check for alignment with a full warm-up. Sometimes after what? The 10,000th rotation? 10,001 can be bad. All right, thanks, Mark. Hope the Eagle starts flying again. SWL 25.
25 checking in.
And 25 is checking in. You are sounding good here into Midtown tonight. Over. We'll get all the other stations associated as well. Want to also say hello to Bob and Steve in Ohio, in the green room, as they, we haven't, maybe before we go to page 2, we'll see if the green room is actually working here. We didn't try the jingle singers. Let's see. We want to do, the orchestra's not ready. Mr. Announcer's not ready. So let's try, before we go too far along here, see if we're dialed in.
How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? Greetings to you, wherever you are. For music and the latest news from home and from afar, the station for you is
OTR, Old Tube Radio.
The station for you is
OTR.
Station for you, OTR. I don't know if it's Flash. I think it's Flash that's going to crash, and everything else is there. The station for you, OTR. Valentine's Day leftovers. Those of you checking in tonight, make sure you jump into the green room, because there is some Valentine's Day hearts, flowers, candies, wine, cheese. I don't know. Valentine's Day cheese. I don't know about that. They flew in Bob and Steve flew in a 30-gallon fish tank and ate fish. I don't know why, but I'm looking at Charlie Alpha Tango. Maybe there's only 7 fish left. Check the cat. The jingle singers are feeding them chocolate candy. Maybe there's not going to be probably 8 left at the end. And Hey, nobody misses last week. It's archived forever somewhere. All right, thank you for the Valentine's Day stuff. Hopefully there'll be something left when we get down here so I can do that. Page 2, looking for a guy was listening on the 5-7 this morning, talking to Pat and to Jerry, sounding good on my HT. SWL 27.
Number 27's checking in on AM.
You're sounding good on AM. I had the little Bofong or whatever it was, HT, sitting on the table this morning and was listening to you guys chatting it up all on the rubber duck. Sounded good.
All right, very good. Yeah, we had a little conversation there this morning, so I don't know. We try not to do that too often, though. Number 27, thanks, Dennis.
And thank you for checking in. We've got a proxy check-in for SWL 29. If I didn't say so, and I'm sure I probably did, in about 25 minutes or so, we will be talking with and checking in the classic tube radios from 1959, late 1958, when they started this Class D thing here on 27 megahertz, to about 1978 when everybody was giving it up. We'll talk about that too. So stay tuned for that. SWL 30. SWL 31, waving a hand from, let me check, from the balcony still. Yeah, Robert Teresa up there. I think they have a special courier that runs up from the green room and delivers all the goodies of the evening. So that's actually a good place to be. SWL 32. SWL 33, myself and the Jingle Singers and Mr. Announcer and all that, and we've got a break. The DD21, how do you display the SWL numbers in the upper left corner of your live stream display? You want to have my permission to copy that? You copy that, please. I'm using an OBS streamer. He's saying, what is an OBS streamer? That's the video streaming that you have to do now because Google YouTube doesn't do that. And then there is a way to insert various items. As you can see, I'm inserting the camera down here on the bottom. Where is that? The bottom thing right over here. Yeah, right there. That's the other camera. And then I'm inserting and I have to ask Prodex about, there's some address that inserts what's actually on the .net page at oldtuberadio.net. That particular thing that shows up there is being inserted like a camera, but just that part of it. It's cropped down. So it's in that box. I have a box where all the video comes in, so that actually is what shows up there. So I've got the page. It's streaming the page, and I've got it trimmed down and matted, M-A-T-T-E-D-E-D, matted, so that you can see that. And so that's mimicking exactly what I'm doing over in the .net page. And I finally got smart enough to figure out that I could display that as things were happening, so you could see if you got checked in or not. So if you can do that, please do that. It's pretty cool, but it requires some technical expertise on applying URL addresses and positioning on the screen so that they're not, in front of your face. So that's the skinny on that. And we'll catch some other things here. I want to get through the roll call, so we do have some time for radios. SWL 34. SWL 35. Let me scroll down. I know I saw 35 checking in. Mr. Bill from Cheyenne, Wyoming, just moments ago. Thank you, Mr. Bill. Faithfully listening in, as he often did when he was right here in town checking in the big radios. Thanks, Bill. SWL 36. SWL 37.
Good evening, Dennis.
And good evening from Net Control over to the theaters, the studios out there tonight.
Absolutely.
All right, got you checked in. Thanks for listening.
You bet.
else is in there? Oh, Jimmy's in. Jimmy Fielder. Railroad of 546. I enjoy the railroading steam pictures. Oh, no. Oh, no. The computer wants to update. Hit the later button. Hit the later button sooner. Big time radio collector for sure with the Brownings. Just saying hello. Glad you popped by. He does a lot of work on a lot of the Facebook pages. I always admire the people that can run their lives and families and actually put a decent Facebook page or two or three up for us all to enjoy in the 11-meter field. So thanks for jumping in here to the Old Tube Radio Network tonight. Hopefully we'll have some of your favorite radios stop by. I know it's late. I know it's late for a lot of the Midwest and the East Coast guys. We start here at 8 p.m. Pacific time, so it gets kind of late. But if we started any earlier during the summer, nobody would hear us because of the skip. SWL 38. SWL 39. SWL 40. SWL 41. SWL 42. SWL 43. SWL 44. So I'm supposed to wait because sometimes he can get on the actual two-way and say something. But Mr. DDX is on the video side. Hello, Ray. I got you checked in. Over. I don't hear anything over the air. Also, Reedleytown was having trouble hearing things tonight, so maybe we don't have the best ground wave conditions tonight. Let's see what's happening up in North Fork, SWL 45. Oh, my receiver didn't go. And there is USY. If you're listening, Aaron, we're coming up to you, but you may have to go. Mr. USY is probably cursing me right now saying, why don't you have the crossband radio up? And the crossband radio is right over in the table. It's the antenna and the coax that is not up. And it's one of those things that requires a lot of my time that I don't have, but that will be happening shortly. So thanks for being the smart guy that you are. And we will get you checked in here moments from now. SWL 45?
45, if you can hear me now.
I can hear you now, over.
It helps if I just put my finger on the mic there. Anyway, 45 checking in. You're sounding fine, Dennis.
All right, so little time, so many microphoniums. Thanks for checking in, and we will look forward to visiting your radio room coming up in just a little bit.
Thank you.
SWL 46. Shortwave listener 47.
Good evening, sir, from the Radio Lounge, SWL 47.
47 is sounding GOO type D.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's nice to be back in the air chair after being up in the Bay Area last weekend.
All right, hope you were doing something fun.
Yep, did a couple fun things, caught the symphony up there, and actually got to talk to a ham radio operator on the Pampanito, the World War II sub that's up there in San Francisco Bay.
Cool. Sounding good, and thanks for the check-in from the Radio Lounge. SWL 48. The helicopter flies over. Maybe I'll try and bounce off the police, the CHP helicopter flying directly overhead. SWL 49.
Hello, Dennis. A big hello to all the SWLs out there. 49er is checking in, and we're wishing all the SWLs, hopefully you guys are having as great of a night as we are. We have Hawaiian burgers and several very delicious adult beverages, and in fact, I think we have somebody else in here that would like to say hello.
Sweet Country Mama saying great night to all you SWLs.
Sounding good, 49er, Country Mama, having a good time at the QTH over there. Sounding good on the HLR audio. I hope Timtron will tune us in sometime. Maybe we can do an interview. We'll get on. Was it WCHB? What is his shortwave radio station? I wonder if he would even entertain. Talking to 11-meter radio. Sounding good, gang. Thanks for checking in.
Would be very cool, as I would love to thank him for such a fantastic 101 design. And again, we thank you for the check-in, and again, hope everyone's having a fantastic night. Thank you, Dennis.
All right, we are getting off to a good start here, the Old Tube Radio Network, where we will be talking about the Tube radios coming up shortly. SWL 50. The guy that got us started off as 00, SWL 51.
51, check in.
Sounding good out there in Sanger. I don't know if the 180, that new 180 little loop-de-doop thing they're doing helps you out on your commute. Maybe that's the wrong way. All I know is that our friends in Menkler and Centerville are now going to get bypassed. You are sounding good once again.
Thank you, Dennis. Have a good evening.
And there it is, the big thing. Look on the screen. SWL 52 with the giant check-in from behind his golden keyboard. He would be behind the golden microphonium if indeed I was on the proper frequency. Thank you, Mr. USY. Where did you check in? Oh, you were on the video side. All right. Aaron on the video side. Good to hear Aaron on, or see him there, Mr. USY of infamous fame with the FARC and all things with whatever he's doing now. He's another one of those busy guys. It's just, you can never catch him on the radio, but when you do, you better log it in. Thanks, Aaron. And this guy who always helps us turn to page 3, SWL 53.
Oh, Dennis, 53 checking in.
Hello, Bob. Mr. Bel Air, sounding good on the Old Tube Radio Network. Thanks. Oh, he's on, yeah. Aaron's on his golden iPhone. The golden phone, the Universal Media Network. We're looking for page 3. I'm having too much fun with the roll call here tonight. That's okay. And yes, I did get 44, DDX. I did get 44. I don't know if you want to try an over-the-air thing, if you're in the skip zone or not. I will listen for you, but I did get you checked in 360 over.
Break OTR.
And the break OTR on page 2, I bet. Go ahead.
Yep, last one. 50 checking in.
All right, 50 we got. We'll make it official on the big screen, and thanks for listening to the Old Tube Radio Network. And before we start page 3, Johnny Define is in. Let me do. Wait a minute. I can do this better. You got to be listening. You won't hear it over the air, but you got to be listening on the stream or somewhere. So let's say hello to Johnny Defiant. Yeah, there it is. Jigsaw John in Rutherford, New Jersey. Sounding good tonight. SWL 54, Mr. Board Jammer with the Cosmic Check-In. Over to SWL 55.
Hello, Dennis, 55, checking in.
And trying to get my mouse to work to make it official. 55 is checked in. M&M up in Shaver Lake. Probably a beautiful day up there today.
It wasn't bad.
You live to tell about it, so it has to be pretty good. Thanks for checking in.
Yep, thank you, Dennis.
And in the secret workshop, somewhere behind the microphonium, SWL 56.
Good evening, Dennis and the net. 56, just for kicks.
And I need a couple of kicks. I put in a new seat cushion in the chair here so that I would be perfectly aligned in the video. I just have to remember to set up straight. Thanks, Phil. And we talked about those worldwide sidebanders. Here's one from Central Kentucky. WS 1942, Mr. Brown Dog Audio. Is BD in? Yeah, I don't think so. It's not. I'm looking at the page here. Let me refresh. See who's coming in tonight. Hello to the mighty KUH, Brian. Going through some baseball cards. One of his many hobbies. You know, what was it on somebody's site? They were showing the QSL cards. I just didn't know. I never exchanged QSL cards. I had one, a poster drawn up for me. I could have turned it into QSL cards, but this is early 60s, 62. That was pretty bold to exchange QSL cards on 11 meters. So cards is cards. Don't, here's my suggestion. Do not try to chew any of the bubble gum that comes out of those cards. Let's see, who else? SWL 58.
Yeah, Proxy in 58. He was out here but has the radio trouble.
Oh no, the Radio Trouble Blues. That is a song that we do not like to sing on the Old Tube Radio Network. I will get Jeremy checked in.
All right, thank you.
SWL 59. SWL 60.
Evening time to you, Dennis. Doggone it, let's get this base checked in, the DX2527 for Jake's sake.
Absolutely. Put the X in the square. 2901. Who is waving a hand, no doubt, to all the Old Tube Radio operators waiting for those tube radios to check in. Thank you. Let's try Dino, right? Mr. Copenhagen Kid, SWL 61.
61, checking in, Dennis.
Sounding good in the OTR neighborhood. Thanks for checking in. Waving a hand from Vancouver Island. Hello to Mark. And there is Brown Dog Audio. Okay, I didn't miss you. I missed you. No, I actually checked you in. I even gave you a resounding hello to the WWS 1942 and all the worldwide sidebanders who occasionally step in the AM puddle. Thanks for coming down and jumping in the AM puddle here tonight. You're looking good. In fact, I will go ahead and click on the Big 57 again. Just to show you that I can, or that I did. Let's try beautiful downtown Clovis, SWL 62.
Evening time, Dennis. I got a good copy on you, but my C and my radio were both struggling tonight.
Okay, well, it's doing good. We hit you on the upswing. So we're not going to try and break anything, but we've got you checked in here for the 15th of February 2020, and still going strong. Lucky Lindy. Boy, Rex has been pretty much listening in since we started doing this. And, of course, on the radio long before that as well. Always a treat to have Rex checking in with us. SWL 63, Bubba out of New York, or representing all our stations out there, the Big Iron on the East Coast. So thanks for listening in, checking in with us. I want to say hello to Charlie out there in Zero Land. I'm really looking forward to getting my antennas back up and see if we can catch some of the amateur radio operators in some various mode. And some frequency should be fun. So thanks, Charlie, for checking in. SWL 13, did I get you, Mike? I'm looking to see if I put the X in the car. I did not. And there you are. So let me get you checked in. And I'm just, after 35 years, I have trouble figuring this out, and they want me to help out in the 10-meter net. That should be a big disaster, huh? We're still on page 3. if I turn the right page here, and we are looking for SWL 64. SWL 65?
Can I proxy him, please, Dennis?
Certainly. Mr. Marshmallow Eric will get a proxy in for 65, thanks. SWL 66. SWL 67. SWL 68. SWL 69.
Can we get Ken checked in?
Yeah, as they say on the other frequencies. Kilowatt Echo November. We'll say hello to Kenny. Don't have your voice check-in, but we've got your official check-in. If you're watching the video, hello. If you're listening to the audio, hello as well. Hopefully we'll get some conditions coming up to hear you on the radio when things are doing good. Here is the station that I think this guy checked me in on Wednesday, SWL 70.
He's not here.
Present and not accounted for, 007. If I hold it down, 07. Hello, Mark, over.
Yeah, I don't know what the heck happened, but can you proxy him in, Dennis?
Okay, sometimes it is hard to get to the radio, and of course I'm on the net control peanut whistle station, so perhaps I'm beaming long path, and my signal won't be heard for a few days coming into beaconing down into Morgan Canyon, so he's checked in.
All right, he told me to tell you that he appreciates that, and you too, thanks.
All right, a good deal. Thank you. Thank you to the mystery station, the unknown SWL. We have some unknown SWLs. When you look at the chart, it'll say unknown. I think what happens is you actually wear a paper bag over your head when you're checking in, and you become the unknown SWL. Hello to Stockett, Montana. Listening in to the old tube radio tonight, or somewhere near there where it is cloudy and 34 degrees. Let's try SWL 71. I've got to go to my other screen, and I'm sure that Stan is probably out there. I just have to find Mr. Announcer on the good old RCA 44 microphonium. Sounding good from Dallas, Georgia, out there in Foreland. Thank you, Stan. Let's try SWL 72.
Question?
This is the question frequency. Go ahead.
So, you're making the comments about the unknown SWL. Did we ever find out who the unknown comic was?
Oh, you're going way, way back. I'm sure that was revealed somewhere, but I don't know. I don't remember. I don't remember if it was somebody infamous now or famous now, or just, they went with another shtick, like who is the Captain Midnight Video guy that did his thing. So I don't know.
All right, I'm going to have to look this up. I know that the Lone Ranger, I think, at least he unmasked himself, maybe on the Johnny Carson show, and I don't think the public's reaction was too warm and fuzzy about that. But yeah, maybe I'll get back to you on the unknown comic.
Okay, that was a big bit. He had a good agent. That's what we need here in OTR. I need a good agent. Then I will have my 15 minutes of fame. All right, if you find out, let me know. Unless it's one of those things where if you tell somebody they have to do bad things to you. So just keep that. If that's the case, don't worry. SWL 73. I'm going to check in John. I did not hear him all the way, but I heard him a little bit on the Baofeng this chat this morning, talking to Dwayne and Pat and Jerry. So I'm getting him checked in. He was doing a good job. He's not that close to me, but must have the beam pointed this way. So MI's in.
Break OTR.
The break OTR. Go ahead.
Yes, this is SWL 40 checking in from Chinatown.
Sounding good. It's a strange noise in the background. I hope that's not a UFO.
Well, we are in meditation chanting the measurement of the Om.
All right, sounds good. You sound mellow. Check in your radios, the old tube radio network. We've got you checked in. Over.
Oh, and don't forget your amps and voltage too when you chant.
Yeah. E equals EIR or PIE. Don't forget all that good stuff. SWL 40 checked in. Checking in. 73 is in. SWL 74. And I will get Miss Julie checked in. SWL 75. And DD21, the unknown comic, Murray Langston, did show who he was, but he lost his funny bone after coming out of the bag. That sounds like a shtick in itself. So Michael, look up Murray Langston. See if you get a Google search on that. SWL 77. SWL 78, that's Richard in Everett. Oops. Can't get the foot switch working. Richard in Everett. Scrolling the pages here. Who did I miss? Talking too much. They're coming up on these guys. That's okay. Albert, Peter, and Christian. We got Squamish looking good. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye out. Keep an eye out my various screens as people checking the Old Tube Radio Network. They're all chanting, tube radios. They are coming up after the roll call here. SWL 79.
79, checking in.
All right, Philip, you're being very patient. I heard you tune up earlier, and it was sounding perfect, and you're sounding great now. Not using too much airspace. Conserving the airwaves so that others may key down, or is it key up? I don't know. Actually, I think you actually key up. We talked about this before. You key up unless you are keying down, but you have to key up to key down, right? You key up the transmitter, but if you're going to key down on somebody, you still have to key up. Oh, boy. I'm already tired just thinking about it. SWL 80. Page 4, SWL 81. Sometimes the Steve Areno hangs out on the video side. Keep an eye out for that. Let's try SWL 82.
82, checking in from the Ditch Banks of Iowa. Good evening.
Weather is beautiful today. I saw people out picnicking up on the ditch banks. When the temperature gets in that 69, 70 degree range, the ditch banks are open for business. Sounding good.
All right, thanks, Tim.
Over to SWL 84. Still working on the antennas and things for 11 meters and all that. Also, there we go. Also, he's a busy guy at this time of year out in the field, out at the ranch, doing the thing. So he's, what is it? Early to bed and early to rise properly. Jerry, Mr. Cheerios Kid, we got you checked in, and we'll get the rest of the gang as well. SWL 85. Listening in for Reedley. Having trouble with Reedley tonight. SWL 86, 87, and 88. The Mountain Maid, Candy Girl, and the Snowy Owl checked in. SWL 89. SWL 90. SWL 92. SWL 93 with the SWR out of the roof, or through the roof maybe I should say, but checked in earlier. I heard him, and I don't know, I think the stream was up at the time, but if you're still listening, Louie, we've got you checked in. Fresno Dave 544, SWL 98.
Checking in, Dennis.
Dave is checking in, and we've got you checked in. Over.
Thank you very much.
SWL 103. I saw Mr. Cheesy Easy 103 on Facebook. We will get Jeff checked in. SWL 109. Shortwave listener 110. From Reedley Town, but having trouble making the trip tonight. Actually, hearing everything. Still get some noise, but did see you on the big page, Robert, so we will get you checked in. 111's in. SWL 113. SWL 114.
114, checking in.
SWL 114. Hello, Wayne. Got you checked in. Over.
Thank you for the check-in.
Then we jump up to SWL 128. John Lee out there in Fairfax, who is checking in. Let's see, I just saw a post. Did I not? Yes. Oops. And if you refresh the page, the posts go away. He had QSL cards back in the early 60s. That's when I saw these ones posted from 62. Did a search on eBay a couple of years ago and found a card I had sent out. I had to buy it. That is, we talked about beaming the long path. That is definitely beaming the long path. You send the card out, and then you have it sent back to you. That's funny. I wish I could find my little poster that somebody did for me a long time ago. Actually, you know what? Do I have a QSL card? Over here on the bench that you cannot see, I've got a QSL card from SWL 84 and some others. I'm wondering if I had one of my horrible ones that I had done that I never sent out. But that wasn't for 11 meters. I know I've got a box of them somewhere. I'll have to show that sometime. But I do have a QSL card, but it wasn't for 11 meters. All right. Oh, man, it is the hour is late. Don't lose hope. We are going to be checking in tube radios here. SWL 131. SWL 133. Just checking. Anybody hear 133? Over. Okay, 135. I think I'm supposed to proxy in the Cliff, which I will do. SWL 137. Shortwave listener 145.
Good evening, Dennis. Donnie Goody, Corsco today, 145 checking in.
Yeah, you got it. You've got it cranked up, sounding good here in Midtown Fresno on the 145 check-in. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Dennis.
SWL 147 from an hour ago. Kakalaki, waving to the West Coast. Radios have been dead quiet all week. Anybody out there? He's saying, who's out there listening? I've been hearing that complaint as well. World Radio 559 has opened a live stream YouTube channel. He's located in the hills above Castro Valley, and he has some big ears. I wonder if is that 559? He's the one that drives up to Diablo and does the, lower 38 thing? I think that's the same guy. Anyway, above Castro Valley, big ears. You can hear all the action on Channel 17 from all over East Bay and the Peninsula. He does a Friday night check-in net at 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. I have to listen to that on 17 and get stations as far away as Santa Rosa, San Jose, Sacramento, Modesto. So he's looking up to the kind of central Central Valley there, like old times again. The frequency is rocking with bass and mobile radios. If you are in the Bay Area or North San Joaquin Valley, go to Channel 17 and check in. That's Fridays at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. For the rest of us, follow it on YouTube. Live stream YouTube channel. Have to do that. If he gets high enough, if he gets up to Diablo, he can actually, at least on sideband, pick things up. That would be interesting if he was ever out and about. Maybe when summer picks up, if he's up on the big hill, so we can't make a contact. Probably would have to have some of the big gun stations. That's not me, but some of our big gun stations might be able to make a check, and that would be interesting to have him show up on OTR, and his video could be in our video. Who's next? SWL 195. And SWL 226. And then where we go up here? I heard somebody was saying, WWS, Road Dog. The type is so small I have to really look at the screen. Road Dog 507. Road Dog 507. Yeah, let's do that. Let's get another. I've got some room here, believe it or not. Road Dog 507 in the SWL, in the shortwave listener page 2, 41. SWL 41. Hello, Road Dog, if you are there. In fact, let's give this a tryout. If I click that button, 41 shows up. And then we do that, and then 41 is checked in. So, yeah, Mr. Road Dog, let us know where you are at. Let us know what the conditions are like on sideband, and thanks for joining us here on Saturday evenings, the Old Tube Radio Network. Okay, Tube Radio's coming up. I'll be right back. I got to set up the stream for the tubes, and we will get this thing started. All right. For those on the audio side, recalibrate your Universal Media NetWeb. So we get the stream coming back on. Make sure I've got my stuff going. Looks good. And there's Road Dog. From Hudson Valley. All right. They're in New York. Damn, staying up late. Hanging out with all the big iron. They got some awesome 75-meter AM stations out that way. Wait, click on the mouse the wrong way and things mess up. It is time for your tube radios. This is the Old Tube Radio Network.
You may not find us on your TV, because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by RADI.
the Old Tube Radio Network.
The Old Tube Radio Network, RADIO. Thank you, Stan. And thank you, X4000, the Jingle Singers, and the entire group over in the Green Room tonight, having a fun time with the Valentine's Day leftovers. It is time to talk about, check in, and listen for those classic tube radios glowing in the dark from 1958, 1959 to about 1978. Those of us who were around at that time wished maybe that we had some that we didn't. Maybe we have them now. And we will hear some of those radios that maybe we didn't have. Checking in tonight. Our tube radio operator collectors are awesome. Let's see what they can do for us tonight. OTR standing by.
25.
45.
And hello to Jerry, Mr. Sidekick. Step into the air chair first, Jerry, and then we'll send you down into the green room to do all the fun stuff here. 8856. And hello, Paul. Jump over into the green room, and we will call you here in just a moment to be radio number 2. So we'll pick Paul up as radio number 2, but radio number 1 on the list tonight from Madera Heights, or something like that. Hello, Jerry, over.
Dennis, I think Paul kind of paused there just on purpose so he could go into the green room and check out the treats and check out the Jingle Singers and, of course, the beverages. Anyway, real quickly, 25 checking in on the General Radio Telephone MC5. And the reason I'm checking this radio in because that's the one that was hooked up from last week. So seems to be working okay. As you know, it was a work in progress and got it, I think, dialed in pretty close with a lot of help from friends. But it's a cool radio. Looks like a little rack mount, but I mean, it's a little thing, but it's kind of like my Pug. You know, it looks like it weighs about 5 pounds until you try to pick it up, and it's about 20 pounds. But anyway, I don't know where that came from. Anyway, back to you, Dennis.
Back to me in the studio. General Radio Telephone MC5, working great last week and still working fine this week. It seems like it gets better. It's like fine wine. Always seems to just sound a little bit better each week. There is, speaking of Paul, there's a shot from Paul's collection. He has about 1 ton. I think if we weighed them all, if we weighed all of his General Radio telephones, it would come out to about just under 2,000 pounds. But this is one from the collection, the MC5. Apropos for this particular check-in, let me ask you a question. Have you ever picked that thing up by the rack handles? Are they attached well enough that you could actually physically pick that radio up?
Well, I think they're attached to where you can pick it up, but I don't know why you would want to pick it up from there because it's kind of a heavy little radio, and it would just be picking up the front end, and I don't know why you'd ever want to do it that way. I always wondered why they have the handles out front. But I guess if you had a rack mount system of radios, I guess it would work cool. But or if you actually this is designed as a mobile too, so maybe a slight mount or something like that. And they used to have those back in the day to prevent the bad guys from ripping off your radios when you weren't around the car, the vehicle. So, but anyway, good radio. It's pristine. Just had some issues, and I think we got her figured out, Dennis. So, anyway, thanks. I think this needs to be worked too. That audio tube. There are all new tubes in here, so they're probably just going to sound better and better as I go. Anyway, thanks, Dennis.
Thanks for bringing it by. I actually have some of my radios rack mounted, but they're in the rack, but they're not rack mounted because they don't meet the 18 point something 4 inches or whatever. But they're on a shelf. I have a rack mounted shelf, and then they sit on the shelf in the rack. And that one would do the same way probably, because I'm sure it's not 18 inches wide, but it would look cool no matter where it's at, whether it's in your 1965 Mustang or your 2020 fancy computer desk. And it sounds good on the old Tube Radio Network. Getting us started off from General Radio Telephone, the MC5 from late 1962, 1963, when it first came out, at about $200 in today's. I don't have one of those calculators, but $199.95 probably is very close to $600 or $700 in today's money. The MC5, probably the most advertised General Radio Telephone CB, much like the MC4 before it, but had a stronger transmitter. And the last, don't go away, Jerry, the last General with the tone signal, thanks to the FCC. If you're looking at the picture, the tone signal is that switch just below the S meter. We will see if Jerry can humor us and give us a blast on the tone signal, the Q-Bird, before he goes. Back to you.
Okay, Dennis, and I'll do that. But I believe the MC5 and Paul, or I think Paul or yourself, will vouch that the MC5 actually came out with a sideband version too as well, but this one does not. It's just strictly AM. And but Paul might have a comment on that. And by the way, I heard your story about maybe some articles on the Browning laboratory, so I'll just maybe have to warm up the Mark III here. So, okay, here we go, Dennis. I'm gonna transmit while doing the tone signal alert, and then I'm gonna get off the key.
Excellent. The tone signal button just below the S meter is showing a close-up of that. Also, I didn't have a picture, but I had the Orban loudness meter up. Your normal audio running the LUFS meter at about -20. That's an audio setting. And when you do the tone signal, which pretty much is 100% modulation, you went up to a -16. So that's your 100% audio setting. Sounds good. The FCC really didn't like that tone signal, mainly because probably the same way it was close to 100% modulation and could be used for malicious interference. And so this is back in 1962, 1963. They said, could you not do that anymore? And so, General Radio Telephone, wanting to be nice to the FCC and wanting to make more radio, said, okay, we'll put it in a little PA system or something. Thanks for bringing that by on General Radio Telephone. And heading up into the air chair. Hello, Paul, SWL25. I want to make note that if you've never checked in before, you don't have to have an SWL number. There are no secret handshakes. You don't have to wear a special hat, no special shirts. This is your forum to get on the air with your newly found treasure, Tube Radio, whether it's from Uncle Fred's collection or the thrift store or something you got on eBay that you opened the box and it actually wasn't broken. Fire it up. We want to hear from you. So no prior experience necessary. Now, this guy here that's coming up, hello, Paul, SWL45, has probably the biggest collection of General Radio telephones on the West Coast. He also has other radios which he graciously takes the time to move the coax and plug in and change the microphonemes and check them in with us. So I'm not exactly sure what he'll be doing tonight, but hello, Paul, over.
Yeah, I hope it stays with me. You know how these old radios are. Anyway, this is my General Radio Telephone Master Control MC2. I don't know how we got that written up there, but I know it's on the web at General Radio Telephone Master Control. We'll get into that later when you get your picture, you find it.
All right, looking for the picture. I've got two. Okay, before cleaning, after cleaning. Let's take the outdoor shot. Boy, that has got a lot of audio. I'm assuming you've got a amplified microphonium with that. Let me go to the live shot here. So here's the General Radio Telephone Master Control MC2 before cleaning. I'm not sure exactly what you had to do for cleaning, but there you go, over.
Yeah, well, this thing's staying with me. Is it overmodulating? Is it too loud, or how does it sound?
No, I don't think it's overmodulated. It just sounds like you're far away from the microphone, a lot of room noise, but it's got plenty of audio. It's got plenty of audio, so we're no problem hearing you. Over.
Okay, well, probably leave it like that, and the archives, and I'll do something about the thing, maybe. I got enough for things to do. Anyway, this is a General Radio Telephone Master Control MC2. Now, the MC2 was also a Master Control. The MC1 was a Master Control. So they look just about the same. I have both the radios, so this is the two that I'm talking on. The one is not functioning at this time, but it's a little bit different. Not a whole lot, but a little different. These guys, you know, this radio came out in 1955, 59. So both of them, I think, the MC2 and MC1 came out that time. You know, I just learned most of this information, so I haven't had a chance to talk about it. I'm supposed to pass it on. You probably have the same thing. But anyway, this thing is, the radios are the same, just about. Very interesting for the one and the two, and they're both manufactured in 1959, where I got it. Back to you, Dennis.
All right, I switched to the picture that has the S-meter. If you watch the video back, you can see where your signal was. Plenty of audio. There's a background noise that keeps your signal up a little bit. Probably if you were closer to the microphone, maybe turned it down, you would have a little clearer audio, but it's plenty loud enough, so don't change a thing. There is no problem hearing it. Let me go back to the closer up shot. And in the early radios, 1959, 1960, 1961, when the Class D was first starting out, to keep the prices down on the radio, you didn't have 23 channels all at one time in the radio. This radio has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 crystal-controlled transmit channels, which the FCC said you have to be crystal-controlled on the transmit. But on the receive, a way to get by having to pack the thing full of crystals was to put the tunable receive. And this did have the capability of tuning in, listening to all 23 channels without having to use a crystal. 7 tubes, only 7 tubes making that thing work from 1959. The microphone, a very nice Electro Voice high-efficiency ceramic mic, was the stock mic with that. It had the spot switch, which you needed for getting your receiver in line with whatever crystal transmitter or crystal that you were transmitting on. And nice thing about it had an S-meter, which was an option that typically was only found on the more expensive radios. I don't have a price for this. My guess is it was probably close to about $200, similar to that. Sounds good from 1959. That's back when cars had giant tail fins. So imagine the Master Control sitting in the 1959 Buick Invicta and looking pretty cool. Back to you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's correct. That's the time for sure. You know, this right here is the MC2. It's got a 0 switch on the thing. That was where they put the tone switch in on the MC3s. So they're still using the same knockout, but just change it over to the tone control. As Jerry was showing his off today. It sounded good, Jerry. Anyway, this thing it's very similar to the thing. It's got a place for an extra crystal in the front. It's got a volume control, and it's got a meter, which is unusual. Back in that age, 59 didn't have a meter. It's got a meter in the whole shebang. It's got a 0 switch on the thing, and I don't know whether that is for the meter switch or I've never checked into that. I've checked and see if that thing is. I don't know what this box switch is possible. I'll check it. Anyway, other than that, that's about it on the radio. But that's you.
Okay, that could give you a 0 beat too for spotting your transmit crystal to the receive frequency. I'm not sure how accurate the dials were. If you're on channel 11 transmit, how close it is to the dial. on that one. It looks like 9, 10, 13. You kind of have to count numbers and look at lines. And also interesting is the microphone plug. It looks like it could be a TRS, the 3-pin. It's definitely not your standard 4-pin microphonium as well. Sounds good. We'll go back to you for one more transmission. Oh, you know what? I want to check from 1959. We'll come back with one more transmission. I'll do a 0 beat and see how close that crystal is here. Is that 60 years, 61 years later? Over.
Okay. I'll try to... I'm happy at least I'm in the range anymore with the crystals, and you can't get them anymore hardly. So anyway, I hope it was only long enough for you.
Yeah, it was perfect. 27084.6. So about 400 cycles low, and the FCC back in the day said you could run 700 cycles either way, I think. So you won't be getting a visit from Uncle Charlie. Radio number 2, taking us into the 9 o'clock hour and beyond. The General Radio Telephone MC2 from 1959, one of the first issues from General Radio Telephone back when Class D was pretty brand new. Thanks for bringing it by.
Thanks, Dennis.
And you are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network. Let's see if the jingle singers get them away from all the Valentine's Day treats over in the other studio. I think I've got their attention. So here we go on your Old Tube Radio Network.
Let's do some spelling.
OTR. 27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio. Old Tube Radio.
And we were looking for radio number 3.
Break OTR.
If you're breaking OTR, you have come to the right spot. This is indeed the Old Tube Radio Network. Hello there.
Hello, Dennis. I'm intrigued. Maybe I missed it. Had kind of different things going on tonight, but I think you said earlier you had some information on the Brownings, or somebody did. So here it is: the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB, 2-piece radio. The old red on the air light is glowing, and by the way, we're transmitting using the banana mic, non-powered banana mic, I believe, made by Electro Voice. And well, I know you know this radio. So anyway, back to you, Dennis.
I know that radio. It is similar to the one we're showing in the picture, not the one we're showing in the picture, because you're using the microphonium that was typically sold with the radio, the banana style, either Electro Voice or Shure microphonium. It does sound good, and while we're doing that, I'll see if I can pull up my information from Mitch about Browning, who made these radios, starting back when Class D was doing its thing in 1959 and 58, a company that had been doing electronic stuff long before that. And this article talks about how or why they had to stop doing things. But in the meantime, give us another transmission on the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III from about 1972, when they switched over from the Mark II to the Mark III.
Yeah, okay, Dennis. Yeah, it's a sidebander. You can go upper sideband, lower sideband, and I actually have on channel 1, have it hardwired to go to the Subtronics VFO, so gives you a little extra precision, if you will, on if you're going to run sideband. But boy, I don't know who runs sideband down here on.
Hey, it looks like it came back. Of course, the video cameras are on. Let's go. That is so weird. All right, let's see what happens. I probably totally screwed things up here.
Well, we're there yet?
We'll see. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see if where the video came back. I'm looking at the original stream, and it seems like it's okay. But then I started another one, so I've probably done some YouTube giant error that will blow up as well. The Old Tube Radio Network. Doing some testing here.
Sizzling sausages and stuff?
Yeah, I've sizzled my sausages and the orange furniture.
There you go.
Well, I don't know about the old stream, but the new one's working.
Yeah, it should say part 2. I'm looking at my old one, which is up on the laptop, and I just heard you say something. So it's actually, I probably have 2 going at once. So this is interesting. The only thing is now, okay, I guess I can be on this page to check it. So now I've got, on one computer, I've got the new stream. On the old computer, I've got the old stream, but it came up on both of them. So that'll be interesting. I'll have to probably delete one. Okay, Christopher, Mr. 38, let's get the general radio telephone that you have been holding for us so kindly on the air. I think we can do that.
All right, so you mean, Dennis, can I check in radio now?
You may check in your awesome sounding radio over.
All right, well, Dennis, I would like to check in my general radio telephone, my Super MC11A, and this is the 24-channel version of all those, and let's see what else we got here. Oh, and we are running this here with the original handheld stock microphone, and there's nothing behind it, just what you hear is what comes out of the radio. Over.
What you hear is what you get. I just realized closed down my Orban loudness meter. I wanted to see if you're making it past 14 on the LKFS, so I'll bring that up. All right, there we go. And then when we actually stopped this, we were going to talk about Browning, because we had a Browning radio check-in. So once we get reconnoitered here, I think we can still do that. I may still have that information. But you are sounding good. I now have 2 video streams. So hello to those who are watching the original Old Tube Radio Network live on February 15th, and those who are watching the one that says part 2, I think. And maybe if you're watching them together, it will be in stereo. Take a transmission, Chris.
Okay, well, yeah, maybe hear me out of both speakers, or else it's doubling. I don't know, but this radio is working. Over.
It's working great. I'll let people know that you're using stock audio, the supplied stock microphonium. There's no amplification going on. And the radio is not strapped. There is a way to put a plug in the back of that radio and sort of put it into, I'm going to call it Civil Air Patrol 15 or 30 watt DC input, but you are not doing that as well. That's probably why the audio sounds good, because you're not overtaxing it.
Well, I'm doing about a dead key, about roughly between 5-6 watts, somewhere right in there. But it's got 100% forward swing. Here's what I'm looking at.
Oh yeah, it definitely has that, no problem whatsoever. So we are good on the Super MC11A, which is where's my list? See, the analog list has not crashed. It's just sitting here waiting for me to put the pen up to it and tell it what it needs to tell. You are radio number 4 tonight. Over.
All right. Well, I made it in there.
You made it in with the general radio telephone. Super MC8. Let's see. Thanks, Chris. Go back to you for transmission. Do we have another Browning? That would sort of bring us full circle as to what we were actually going to do.
The MC11A, not 8.
MC11A. All right. I'll make sure I write it correctly in space 4.
Okay. I'm out.
Give me a couple minutes. I'll give you a Browning.
All right, good. That'll give me a couple minutes to get to all the stuff I wanted to. We're going to talk about Browning. Mitch, the 23 Skidoo had a great article about, whatever happened to Browning. And it was out of a sort of a local newspaper saying, here's an interview with the guy there saying, here's why we have to do what we did. I thought it was very interesting. And speaking of Mitch, speaking of 23, I think he's listening in somewhere. He's somewhere listening in. I see him on the old stream. I don't see him on the new stream, but I think both of them are going. Yeah, maybe that's what happened. There was a 40-year-old capacitor in there, SWL-23, doing the 23 Skidoo tonight, but he is back. And we are going to talk about Browning here, if I can find my stuff. Oh, no, and I had it open. I had the thing that I could actually read open, and when the computer crashed, it took it away. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to read. I think I can. I think I can do this. All right. I tell you, the cameras sure look crappy, don't they? Because that's what happens. I have to reset, before I start, I have to reset all the cameras. They must have all defaulted.
Break OTR.
The break OTR, go ahead. Now we're working?
I'm not sure what you're talking about. I'm just now going back on channel 11, but this is a rather warm radio from the radio lounge, if it's an appropriate time to check it in.
Yeah, let's do that, because we're waiting for a Browning to come by, and that will fill in space. Now, we had a major technical crash on the video audio streaming side. Of course, the radio side is fine, as it always is. When we have the nuclear blast, OTR will be able to stay on the air, at least on channel 11 in the Central Valley, but who knows what will happen to the Universal Media Netweb. Go ahead, sir, with your item of interest. We are ready to copy your radio.
Well, I think that might have been the Browning you're waiting for.
Ed will be checking in a Browning, but you will be radio number 5 with the selected item that you have right now.
Okay, well, if Ed's waiting, I'm going to make this real quick. For your listening pleasure, a Robin T123 with a Magic Eye tube. I think a 6RE13, which with this amplified aesthetic mic that I've got right now is definitely hyperactive, I would say.
Well, let me get a shot of what we're looking at. The Magic Eye tube, this one we're looking directly into the side of the tube. They cut a little hole into the face sketch in there, and the little lights on the tube from top to bottom. As you increase your audio gain, those two illuminated areas should come closer together.
Indeed. They are right now. I think for the first couple of years I had this radio, I had some sort of a generic, it might even been a Grauman unamplified mic. No, actually, no, I think I lied. I think it was an amplified Turner microphone. But the Harvey SWL 20 was good enough to help me obtain this amplified D104 with a semi-customized back to the head of the mic. My first name is Mike, which is, of course, what I'm speaking on right now. And although it kind of looks like, it suspiciously looks like an upside-down W, I think we'll just say this microphone has been customized to me. The back of the head has a nice M. Again, it kind of looks like an upside-down W, but there it is. And I don't think I've ever heard anyone check a microphone with their first initial on it on the back of the head. So, hey, maybe there it is, something unique.
Could be Mike and the mic. The MT1, I think that is the photo, and I'll go back to the big screen. I wanted to put up the S meter, so if you watch, you give yourself a signal report. The microphone in the shot here is the desk microphone. I think Cliff calls that the MT1 that was made for Robin, R-O-B-Y-N. Interesting, there was a mention that this is the Japanese manufactured radio. Now, the one after this was for sure the T123B, which was the same chassis as the Robin. What was it? It was the Panasonic chassis. This one here, I'm not 100% sure. It's on Sam's CB35, page 95, because the B does not have the magic iTube. I'm not sure if this was an import radio or not. The other ones were the Panasonic chassis, the 123B and the 240D. Definitely were, and I think they were plate modulated. Not exactly sure about this one. Would go 12-volt DC, 115-volt AC, and this would have been up to 1972. I think 72 is when they switched over to the B model. But with the amplified microphonium, this is your set. You sound every bit as broadcast quality as you might want.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's going to be a topic maybe for after the show. Number one, I'm quite happy with the Magic iTube. It definitely gives me enough information for what I'm doing. It doesn't tell you everything about the quality of the audio, but maybe just the power of the audio. But maybe that's a topic for after the show. But on that, I hate to hog up the time and make someone wait in the green room, so maybe it's time to send it over to him. So thanks for letting me check it in. I almost said my favorite radio. I think it is my favorite radio because it's my very first one. It's got the Magic iTube. It's great in the radio lounge and on the road, and that's definitely a plus factor for me. So thanks for letting me check it in, and on that, I'll send it back to you. Thank you.
All right, back to me in the studio. Thanks for bringing it by, filling up radio number 5 for us tonight with the Robin T123. Here, what do we call it? During the big crash of 2020 on OTR, when things wanted to do an update. Sorry about the camera quality, but I'm going to fit around making me look good, because that's pretty much impossible to do anyway. But what I would like to do is see if Mr. Ed is out there, and we will talk to the Browning radio. Over.
I think it's working.
It is working quite nicely. And if you were to ask me to name that radio in one ping, I don't think I could. So I'll let you tell me which one of the Brownings has made it to the air, and I'll see if I can get the appropriate one up for the video.
Well, in that case, this is the R68T68 Browning Golden Eagle. No mark.
Okay, let's start with the advertisement for the Golden Eagle, the first Browning to add the golden mark. After the Eagle, the R27S23 made its run for a couple years in 1967 for a price of $395. This might have been the last reasonably priced, well, I should say affordably priced Browning, but at $400 when a lot of radios were selling for half of that in 1967 or 68. This is still a bargain. I think for $395, this was definitely a bargain, and we'll be talking about a Browning in just a minute here. Series 1 and Series 2, in the a year and a half or so that these were made, there were 2 different versions. Also some options for speakers, which we see in the picture, and a all-inclusive cabinet, which we do not. I'm not sure if you have either of those, but we'll go back to you for a transmission.
Yeah, this is the Series 2, and just like the one in the ad, this one has the banana mic, which I'm using right now. And unfortunately, I don't have the external speaker, but I've got the rest of it anyway.
Sounds good. You're running it just right. I mean, Brownings, you can really make them loud. It's really hard to overdrive them, and you can run them mellow. Yours is just about right. If you're going to have a rag tube contact with the Browning, you don't want it to be too over the top, but the fact that it can on your Series 2, let's see, the Browning Gold Ingot, the Series 2 had the lighted on the air light rather than the spotlight, which was on the Series 1, and then some receivers have a variable RF gain and others have a 3-position switch for RF gain. I'm not sure what we're showing in the picture here. I could zoom in on that. So on yours, do you have the switch RF gain, or do you have the variable?
No, this one has the 3-position, which, yeah, everything else I have has variable on it. This is the only one that has the 3-position. It's definitely a little different, but it definitely works. Yeah, it has a local and one for really, close for like a kind of an attenuation.
All right, and where is your on-the-air light? Obviously, in the smaller transmitter, it looks like it might be the little red light that's there, or do you have something different?
No, the transmitter portion, the little guy, is got that little light in the middle, and that's what lights up.
All right, interesting. And later on, they made the bigger dials, the channel selector dials, but they've got all that real estate on the front of the radio, and the great speaker, and the first one with the flying eagle badge on the speaker, and then they give you those little tiny channel selector areas, little windows. Are they illuminated behind that to make it easier to see what you're doing?
Yes, they are illuminated, so it does make it a little bit easier. And yeah, they are kind of small, but yeah, they're not that hard to read.
All right, while I've had the video up, and let's see if I can switch this. Let's talk about, this is 1967-68. After that, the Browning, the Mark II, and its various forms came through, and then in 1972, around that time, the Golden Eagle Mark III, to about 1976, when everything changed for citizen band radio because of 40 channels, and pretty much started the death knell. Here is something, thanks to Mitch, SWL23, from Asbury Park Press, Monday, January 15th, 1979. And let me thank you, Ed, for the Browning that will get us into our next segment here. Browning Laboratories, the title of this article from the 23 Skidoo that were Mitch posted from 79. Browning Laboratories announces closing. Maybe I can read it off the air. I had this all set up to go, and then when the computer crashed, but it sort of gives an idea of exactly what was happening with Browning, with CB Radio, and for that matter, with a lot of companies. I'll call them mom and pop companies, but companies that employed workers back in, that were in for the long haul. So one of the most famous names in the history of CB radio, Browning Laboratories, the manufacturer of the radio with the ping, is closing its doors for the last time tomorrow. According to Gardner Green Jr., we just couldn't compete with the state of the market. The president of the family-controlled corporation that manufactures the famed Golden Eagle radio said it was getting to be too cutthroat, and with all that price cutting, the kind of radios that we make just were not suitable. Unlike the numerous other companies that declared bankruptcy, however, Browning is selling most of its assets. So obviously they weren't the only one in this bust to doom. Browning is selling most of its assets, including a few remaining radios, at a day-long auction tomorrow at its building in Laconia, New Hampshire. So this was back January 15th, 1979. So just a little over 41 years ago. Did anybody go to that sale? Raise your hand. That would have been something. Browning's Golden Eagle, its top-of-the-line model, which listed for more than $900, was the only CB set to feature separate transmitter and receivers. Well, that's actually not true, according to me, the article, but that's close enough. This is 1979, so the last set that they would have had made at this time would have been the Mark IV or the Mark IVA. Because the two components were separated, there was a brief time delay before King the transmitter silenced the receiver. So they're giving a little history on the infamous ping. During the delay, the receiver received the king of the mic, and feedback caused a noticeable ping at the start of every conversation. The ping became a trademark of excellence in the CB world, and some CBers who didn't have a Golden Eagle tried to imitate the ping on their own equipment. And we talked about that and showed a few pictures a while back of the paper clips and the bobby pins and things on the D104. It's funny, Green recalled, but the FCC didn't like the ping at all, and we had to reduce it quite a bit on their newer models. It's controlled by a capacitor in the receiving circuit, and by changing the value of the capacitor, you control the volume of the ping. You can tune it down so you don't even hear it at all. And of course, as we found out, the FCC didn't really like noisemakers at all. Back in 1963, it asked General Radio Telephone to get rid of the tone call, to get rid of their, we'll modulate the radio at 100% to get your attention. So the ping was not necessarily something that you turned on and off. It wasn't a switch that produced a tone. It was basically just the receiver and the transmitter talking to each other. So I guess it was a little bit hard for the FCC to kind of drum their hands and say, okay, how do we fix this? But they did say, okay, if you've got some device in there that's causing that receiver to sort of step, to just step a little bit onto the transmitter, then maybe you can work on that, which they did. And there's the ping. Thank you. On cue. It's controlled by a capacitor in the receiving circuit, and by changing the value of the capacitor, you control the volume of the ping. All right. Green warns potential customers, however, not to expect too much if they drive to Laconia for the auction. We continued selling radios until last week, Green said. We have very few radios left, and what we have are mostly untested. Interesting. So it sounds like they actually tested each one of these radios before they went out the door. That's probably why you hear so many today that they're sounding great, because you knew you weren't getting a lemon when you bought one. What Browning is not auctioning tomorrow are the building itself and the patents and trademarks, offering the possibility that Green, or someone who buys the patents and trademarks privately, could once again produce the Golden Eagle. According to Green, the CB market is money now, but the companies that survive are going to do quite well. They will have a nice little industry for themselves, not as well as it was in the fad years, but more than enough to get along. Remember, we're talking about 1979 here. Green said the company's problems began with the fad, when hundreds of new CB companies formed to import low-cost products. Mainly existing companies had to offer their merchandise at substantial losses to either reduce inventory or to generate a cash flow to pay bills, Green said. We weren't hit as early as some others, said Green. Some companies began having problems in 1976 because we concentrated on a more expensive product. We didn't feel it until about a year later. Then, in 1976, Browning tried to hold on, expecting the market to return to normal after the low price sets had been purchased. So what happened is when 40 channels came in, it was basically, I think the FCC said, you know, you really you can't sell the 23 channels anymore. You can't make them anymore. It's got to be 40 channels. So to get rid of inventory, a lot of the companies, and I remember this, going to Sears and seeing Road Talkers for $39 because Sears had to get rid of that 23-channel inventory before they could start selling things. And then there was this sort of 9-month gap between when you could actually manufacture the 40-channel radios and sell them. So it was FCC pretty much put the death knell on citizen band radio with how they figured out how to do this. Well, Browning tried to hold on, expecting the market to return to normal after the low price sets had been purchased, but it never quite returned. Moreover, other companies, seeing Browning did not experience the same problems as early as they did because they had the expensive set, felt the future was in expensive sets. So the result was that more companies began marketing top-of-the-line models, and Browning had more competition. So this had been in 1975, 76, 77. And you did see a lot of higher-end $400 and $500 radios, and some of the other radios. And I think what JT was on tonight, what was the production? When did they do that? 78 or 79 on the SBE 623. So that would certainly fall into that category. According to Green, we lost money every month this year, and we felt it was senseless to continue, Green said. Browning was founded, here we go, listen to this. Browning was founded in 1922 and always concentrated on something concerning electronics, usually leading the field. It was one of the first companies to manufacture oscilloscopes and became a leading manufacturer of hi-fi products in the 1940s. Browning viewed CB as a major growth industry and switched to CBs in 1959. So right when the Class D citizen radio service opened in late 58 and 59, Browning took off and started, just like we heard tonight, 1959, the General Radio Telephone, and a lot of other manufacturers saying, hey, this sounds pretty good. Only months after the FCC started their production in 1959, Green offers one advice to CBers who still hope to own Golden Eagles. 2 distributors, Four Wheeler Communications in Albany, New York, and Amateur Electronics Milwaukee, still have sizable inventories of Golden Eagles and will be selling them for some time until Browning closes its doors for good, back in 1979. So there you go. And that's... If you look at the stock market and a lot of other things in the mid-'70s to the late '70s, you can see Browning was one of the many companies like this that had employees, and the people that owned the company were in it to make millions of dollars, but they probably made a decent living and had a nice house and maybe, could enjoy their hobbies, but really it was a family-owned company, employing families and giving them a living wage. Anyway, that's the deal. 1979, the closing of Browning Laboratories, but thanks to our tube radio operators, we can see that they did a good job of inspecting those radios. And it is 18 minutes after 10 o'clock. I'm counting and I'm outing. Let me get the jingle singers. No, I can't get the jingle singers in here because the link has shut down because of the computer, but I will work on getting that. As if you'd like to check in a radio before you kick out of here, we will be listening for you.
Number 7.
And I think with what we just heard, we'll probably have quite a few Brownings checking in, maybe as a tribute to Gardner Green and all those who worked so hard checking and rechecking these radios to keep them on the air. 7, go ahead.
Yeah, there's the little ping from the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB with the Golden Eagle D104 microphone.
1972 to 1976, probably inspected by a nice little old lady at Browning on a test bench, and it got the A-OK, and out it went, and it's still working in 2020.
Oh, I guess that's one of those capacitors that have been changed to not do the little tiny ping. Oops.
Well, we won't tell anybody, and you're not really turning anything on the radio. I guess you've made a modification, though. It's not like the tone call where they can say, take that switch out of there. I guess they could ask you to switch over to the other capacitor.
Like that one, and be a small little ping. Yeah, the long one can be give you a headache after a while.
It could. If you're doing a rag chew contact, the station on the other end is probably going to complain a little bit. If you're shooting skip, that's your footprint to let people know that you are getting down or getting up or something like that. Radio number 7, let's see, radio number 6 was your Browning Golden Eagle R68 T68, and radio 7 at 1020 will be your Browning Golden Eagle Mark III. Give us another transmission.
Oh, there you go. Well, I guess the ping is basically the Browning CQ for all those out there listening to call in. Kind of like that.
Indeed. The Mark III SSB Radio 7 sounds good. And hopefully before anything else blows up, let's go ahead and pick up, thanks, Ed, for that, SWL 20, who is hopefully still standing tall in the Radio Shack. Hello, Harvey. Uh-oh, I wonder if I've talked too long and he had to go away.
Yeah, I think you just went in for a minute, maybe.
Okay, that's okay. I'm still working on stuff here. So we have, who's open? Radio number 9. And it'll be interesting to see what mess the video is in when I have to go straighten that out. All right, let me check the comments. We're talking about Browning. Jimmy, Gardner Green is still alive and living in Florida. I wonder if he ever tunes in to the Old Tube Radio Network. We do have Florida stations listening in. And Phil Nichols, Elsie Maynard, and another buyer bought everything at that auction. Interesting. Great information on that. Are those aren't the guys from Barkett, are they? I know Barkett Electronics was sort of the place to go for Browning items, so maybe they were associated that way. And good night to Brown Dog Audio, staying up super late with us tonight. There was a picture somewhere of I think Mitch posted it, of the Browning laboratories, as it were. A big building. It was a very big building, and there was, I want to say, hundreds of employees doing what they do best. The article didn't say if after 1959 they were still doing other things, or they went specifically just producing radios. Speaking of radios, looking for Radio 8 as we count them out here on the final moments of the old... I thought the final moments were when the computer crashed, but we came back. So these are the final moments of the Old Tube Radio Network. something we do every Saturday, beginning at 8 p.m. here on 2705 Channel 11, started way back in the mid-1980s, before many of us even had a personal computer. Then sometime back, we started doing audio streaming, and now the video and the audio streaming when such things work. But you know what always works is your radio. The Brownings don't have to reboot. And when you talk on your CB radio, you never get a bill at the end of the month from your internet service provider wanting some cash to keep things going. That's a nice thing about CB radio, or a ham radio for that matter. So if you're thinking about upgrading your current ham radio license, or maybe jumping into the amateur radio field, I highly recommend it. Especially now, at the bottom of cycle 25. It's only going to get better. You'll need very, very few watts and a piece of wire, and you'll be able to do some damage on the airwaves. So if you're studying, keep studying. And who knows, we might just, when the conditions get good, set up a 10-meter AM gathering and see who we can pick up across beaconing across the universe. Good night to Delta Delta X-Ray 73 Ray. Also, I think Robert is checking out. A lot of stations checking out. Last call for the tube radios here in the old Tube Radio Network. And Jim chiming in. Jimmy, the Maynard, L.C. Maynard owned the Maycom Electronics in Benton Harbor, Michigan. Benton Harbor, there you go. That's also the home of Heathkit, right? The Benton Harbor lunchbox. And he sold his inventory to Barkett. Okay, interesting. And then the other buyer was possibly in Kentucky. And then Paul Nichols, the chief engineer, went on to produce the silk-screened Mark IVs after Browning shut down. Hello, Harvey.
Okay. I tried to key up another radio, but it's so dusty inside, it just didn't want to work. So, although if I put another mic on it, I might get it to work. Anyway, this is the Browning Golden Beagle R68T68 by Browning, from Browning Lavatories before they shut down.
Yeah, this is a good, 10 years before they were shut down. They were pretty much in their heyday here. Of course, that was bench tested by somebody. Got a seal of approval. I wonder if they put a little tag, like inspected by number 17. Have you had the case off that enough times to see if there's some inspection tag or some mark that it's in there saying, yeah, it's a good thing?
I think this one does have some sort of tag or stamped inside or on the back. Anyway, this is the on-the-air transmitter with the 3-position RF gain type AGC switch. I have another one that's got the spotlight and the RF gain, actual variable RF gain switch. I did find that model, but there's no room to put it in here, so there you go. I'm going to try and check in one more. I'm going to switch mics.
All right, switching microphoniums from the Browning Lavatories R68, ouch, T68. I'm ergonomically positioned bad. I keep running into the microphone stand here. But you are radio, let's see, Harvey, you are radio number 8 on the Browning. And see if that's wired correctly to get the relay or the electronic switching or whatever needs to be happening to get the transmitter on the air.
There we go. Okay. It's so dusty inside that in the channel selector, it acts like it's working, but isn't, so I have to watch the meter. It's working now.
It is working now. So did you just switch microphoniums on the original Browning, or are you on another set completely over?
Now, by the ping, you can tell I'm on a different radio. This is the Willed to Me radio from my best man. His wife gave it to me basically after he passed away. This is the Browning Eagle R27 S23. And unfortunately, I have to clean the +2 desk mic that came with it. I have to clean the relays. It wasn't keying up right. But this is his second radio. He originally had a General MC, a Super MC11A, but I won't explain why he got rid of it, but until maybe 2 weeks, and then I'll mention why. But anyway, this one got willed to me, and this is operating basically the way it came to me, with the exception of that microphone that I have to clean. Anyway, the R27S23 Browning Eagle, and it's my second favorite radio, I'd say.
Yeah, it's a Browning. Yeah, look for an SE. Jimmy's out there with some great information. In fact, I should go into. I know there's a lot of pictures of his collection. That's what we should be using as some of the radios that way. We just try to use pictures that we have permission, so that somebody doesn't get upset saying you use my radio without permission. But there's a lot of people out there with some great collections, super nice radios. So especially when people are watching this video who really haven't seen these radios before, it's great when we get a shot of somebody's collection. Skip Edwards. Yeah, look, Harvey, look for an SE, who is Skip Edwards was their main repair tech. So if he went through it, he might put an SE on there.
Well, several of my Brownings have tags inside with initials, so I'll check that out. Anyway, this has the original 20 microfarad cap in it. I haven't keyed up this radio probably in about a year and a half. It's just been sitting. Way too much dust in it, and it sits below the Golden Eagle, which sits on top of it. So if I want to clean this thing, I have to take one radio off and then get to this one. But I think I will be doing that. Anyway, so that should be it for me tonight. And approximately in next week, because I should be working. I thought I have some time off, but actually I've had about 4 days off where I could actually sleep in all day. But well, I guess I shouldn't turn down the work while I can still get it, so there you go. Alrighty, the Browning R27S23, willed to me by my best man before he passed away. He was my best man at my wedding, and after he did pass, his wife called me, mentioned that happened, and I ended up with this. Okay. We'll talk to you in a couple weeks.
Still working great. Thanks to Skip and all the gang at Browning Laboratories, who would be, I'm sure, delighted on how great the radio sound. Built like the best automobiles. This is like one of those auto shows, right, on a Friday night when you go down to the hamburger stand and look at the fins and chrome on the automobiles. Here on Saturday nights, we look at the fins and the chrome and the capacitors of the tube radios. Thanks for Radio 9, the R27S23, and a great story to go with that. Last call. I'm going to shut it down here at 10:30, staying up a little late because we had the computer crash. A lot of people staying up late early into Sunday morning to hang out with us here on the Old Tube Radio Network, and I'm sure they're like JT does the get on the air nights, whether it's an old radio night, a vintage radio night, or just to get people back on the radio for a little bit, to be civil. And this is pretty much what it sounded like. If you're listening back in the 60s and 70s when they were doing the 5-minute on, 5-minute off rule, and you don't hear many call letters going on. But this is what you would hear. It's people chatting, having a good time on a Saturday evening. Back when the CB radios were sitting in the living room on the doily, and when you got done watching Jackie Gleason or Red Skelton or Jack Benny or whatever, maybe even the Smothers Brothers, you would kick on the radio and talk to your friends in the next city, down the block. And hopefully have a great time. Counting and amounting, and we'll be right back. And the rebooting, I guess, is going around. X4000 rebooting. I don't know if mine was a memory thing. I normally just restart. It's that habit from the TV station about before you do something important, just restart everything. And it's been working so well. But I forgot tonight. Sort of, there are so many windows and things open to get everything running on the Universal Media NetWeb. The radio side, easy. Just turn on and key the microphonium or your foot switch, and away you go. Just the way Gardner and all the people at Browning. Keep it simple. Keep it simple and make it work. And people will be talking about your radios and talking on your radios for 50 years. The Old Tube Radio Network.
OTR, Channel 11,
right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us.
Old Tube Radio.
And be modern.
And since they seem to be working, let's go ahead with the fanfare.
This is the Old Tube Radio Network. Ladies and gentlemen, stand by. It's time now for the current OTR totals.
The current and final totals for the Old Tube Radio Network, such that it is tonight, February 15th, 2020. Thanks to those of you who jumped into the radio room tonight, took time out of your Saturday evenings, family time or whatever. Maybe you had to sneak in to key the radio, but that's okay. We appreciate it anyway. We had 54 SWLs checking tonight, 11 on page 1, 16 on page 2, 14 on page 3, and 13 on page 4. Of course, a host of you listening in at oldtuberadio.net and watching the video when it was up and running. We hope, like we mentioned before, that you do something like this where you are at to encourage people to get on the air and have a good time with whatever radio they may have. Sitting on the radio bench. Most heard radio tonight from Laconia, New Hampshire, the Browning Laboratories with, looks like 4 General Radio telephones. Let's go down the list before we sign out here. The General Radio telephone MC5, radio number 1 at 856 from Jerry. Then we heard the General Radio telephone MC2 back from 1959 when it was first made, sounding good tonight, thanks to Paul checking that in as radio number 2. Radio number 3, the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB from Jerry. Radio 4 tonight was the General Radio telephone Super MC11A, always sounding good with a regular microphone This goes to show you that if you put the radio together right, you don't need all sorts of extra stuff. It comes out of the box ready to go. The Robin T123 also sounding nice with the magic eye winking and blinking for radio number 5. Thanks for Mike for that. 2 from Mr. Ed, the Browning Golden Eagle R68 T68 and the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB. And then 2 from Harvey, the Browning Golden Eagle R68 T68. And then instead of advancing, let's kick back to 1965 for the R27 S23 as well. The Old Tube Radio Network says 73. Thanks for listening in. We do archive the audio. Go to oldtuberadio.net and click on the archives. Let the OTR magnetophone load all those 3-inch reel-to-reel tapes and either a tube radio or an SWL check-in. Listen to yourself. Give yourself a radio check. And the videos stay up for a while when they actually are up. And you can check your radio out and audio out that way as well. If you are watching this for the first time, hopefully we have given you some information on the radios, what they look like. Help you out if you're looking to buy your first tube radio in your collection, or maybe your 17th, 117th, or you just enjoy the classic sound of good quality AM. Thanks for watching us tonight. Thanks to SearchFlorence.com for keeping the Nixie tubes running. We will catch you next time on the Old Tube Radio Network.
And thank you, Dennis, and of course, Tupozo Control.
Baker Oscar, Zulu Oscar, and the Honking Proboscis.
Hey, Ed?
Yes?
What radio are you on now?
An ICOM.
Okay. I expect it's just a hair more than 3 watts?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All team time, Dennis.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, on some radios, 5-watt DC input is just a suggestion.
Yeah, 10-watt carrier.
Okay, OTR and Harvey, you still there? And Ed, you're still floating around too. Dennis, can you still hear me?
I can still hear you over.
Harvey, you gonna stay on the shack for just a couple minutes?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I have no idea how this is going to go. It didn't go quite so well when Harvey and I were attempting to do this. Dennis, I'm going to play you a little bit of audio. Maybe I'll stop it, and maybe you can tell me if you can hear it, and let's just see what happens here. Hopefully there's no feedback. Hold on, here we go. And, of course, using the amplified microphone causes the 6RE13 to...
Hey, thanks, Jim.
Just wake and blank even that much more, so... I'll pause it right there. Dennis, can you hear what you're saying there on that recording?
I think I heard you better. I could hear that I was talking. There was a bit of feedback. I could tell it was me, but I couldn't tell you what I said. And that's not because I couldn't hear it. I probably wasn't listening. I'm thinking, what was going on here? And I realized, oh, that's me.
Oh, no. All right. So what do I do to this recording? Do I turn the volume down? Let me try one more time. This is bad that it's not working out. Let me try this, and tell me if you can see what you're saying here. All right, could you tell what you're saying there?
Yeah, I was talking about the Robin. I was talking about the using the old slogan from the advertisement, 99 and 44 100%. So I could get that much.
Okay. Okay. This is bad. I'm sorry it's not working out quite so good. Well, let me just play this, and then maybe I'll explain. I'm sorry. I have a feeling it's going to be more of a pathetic failure than not. Let me play a little bit, and then I'll see if you can guess what it was. I'll explain here. Let me get this going again, and...
Why, thank you, as always. It's a pleasure. So, KJ6 EQV/AG on the side.
Oh, we don't want that. All right, could you kind of tell what you were saying right there?
I could kind of tell. I'm thinking this could be, just from what we were talking, it might be something off of FM. What's happening is the EQ is so high pitched it hits these high frequency peaks, and the radio doesn't. The transmitter doesn't handle it as well in transcribing it back. But I could tell I was there, and I'm thinking, is this something from FM?
No. All right, let me turn this radio off. Okay. So here is the deal. I'm going to have to send you that audio, and I don't even know if you're going to be able to work your magic or not. This Thursday is the 10-year anniversary of me surprising everyone when I got my ham radio license. I think I'm going to have to look at it because I still have the original test papers and all that good stuff. I think I got my tech license, oh boy, probably in, I think it was January of 2010. And then probably less than a month later, I got my general. I waited, and finally saw it online that I had a call sign and general and all that good stuff. So I actually I waited. I didn't tell anyone that I got my tech license, and I didn't tell Harvey. I didn't even tell you that I got my general. I waited and waited. I finally got confirmation online. And that was me. I think I checked it. Well, I did check in my radio, my Robin, and then instead of signing off, 47, I gave you my call sign, which completely caught everyone by surprise. I think you were rendered momentarily speechless. I thought it was priceless, your reaction. I do have another audio clip of, I think, after the show. Harvey and Cliff. Well, actually, I think it was Cliff that kind of chimed in first, saying, "Wait a minute, did you get a ticket?" And Harvey, the conversation, Harvey, between you and Cliff was just absolutely priceless. As is my embarrassment that this audio clip just isn't really working out over the air.
Well, the audio is definitely there. It's just because of the proximity to the microphonium and amplified microphones and speakers, not transducing as well as it should, but it sounds like it's all there. And 10 years ago, so KJ, the KJ6s were 10 years, because we are now up to KN, I think, HIJKLMN. So, and I'm a KB6, and that was that was in 1984. So there was this lag until about 1999, 2000, I think, when they switched things around a little bit and things started taking off. So good deal. Let's see. You only have, 15 more years to go before you are eligible for, the QCWA, the Quarter Century Wireless Association. So you're on your way.
Should I pretend I know what that is?
It's just one of those things that if you are around long enough, they say, hey, you've been here long enough and you can walk in the door and join the club. But let me, I need to turn off a couple of things here, but I totally forgot about that. I'm glad you have a recording of that.
Yeah, I recorded it. It was oh my gosh, it was a freebie.
All right, good night, everybody. We're going to shut the stream down here. It's been going too long, but thanks for listening on the O2 Radio Network. We'll return next Saturday
I'm playing the audio through
at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We hope. Good night. Thanks for listening.
And I can hear it just fine, and I'm mortified that it's not going out over the air like it should. But everyone's reaction is just priceless, and I'm so sorry that it's not working out great. But yeah, I got that the initial thing right after I had checked in the radio I'm on right now, as well as another clip that kind of came on after the show, and it's great. Harvey, I think you, I don't know, you gotta come over sometime this week, and I'll play it for you. And your reaction was priceless again.
Yeah, I can imagine.
All right, I'm gonna go before this laptop. I always use.
And don't talk about crashing things.
They're so bulletproof.
It looks like the video is crashing. Good night, everybody. The O2 Radio Network.
Off. It's my.
And we'll see what kind of mess this made with
my
the
old one. I think it's my old one. Its hard drive is not doing so well. I was clicking on the audio file, and I think at some point in time Aaron Copeland was playing, and you might have just heard some AC/DC that was accidentally playing too. The hard drive on this thing is not doing so well, but everything's backed up, and somehow Dennis, I'll try and get the files to you. It's kind of cute listening to it.
Yeah, send them. I guess you can send an MP3 that's compressed and it shouldn't take up too much space. And I've got some other stuff. I put them in the files. Maybe I can run them through the processor stuff and see what happens. I imagine they sound a lot better than what I'm hearing over the air, just because it's going through a speaker and through a microphone, through a speaker, through the headphones, and a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and I didn't expect it to be that bad, but Harvey was helping me a few minutes ago. Well, maybe about a half hour ago, whatever. And again, I was just mortified that he was saying that it just was not working out. It was Sound Studio. It was a freebie chunk of software, and the recording quality on that was just not good at all. But back then, 10 years ago, it was the best I have. Of course, I could do much better now, but we just don't have occasion to do that over here. So there it is. This Thursday night, 10-year anniversary of a little bit over 10-year anniversary of getting a ham ticket.
Hey, Mike?
Yes, sir.
Don't you have to renew pretty soon?
Yeah, already did. It was supposed to be expired, I think was it January of this year? I think it was January of this year, but I renewed it maybe a couple months ago, so I'm good to go.
Did you get something in the mail? I haven't checked with Dennis on what to do.
No, because I'd kind of been paying attention to it. I knew that the anniversary was coming up. I don't think I did get anything in the mail. I don't think I did, really. The renewal process was reasonably easy. I did it all online. It was kind of if you've never done anything online with the FCC, I think that was a little bit of an inconvenience. You have to know your FRN number. I think there's another number. I don't know. I'm sure there are a couple other folks probably listening still that can enlighten us as to the details. once I figured out, I think it was the FRN number, it was easy and costed nothing.
No, they don't send you anything, and yes, you need your FRN.
Yeah, I figured that. I think I have mine somewhere. Let's see, you got yours okay, you just renewed. Yeah, I got my license a year after you did. March 23rd, 24th of 2011. And I upgraded April of 2012. So I